What's going on, you all? Coach Reese here, Proathletics Fitness, coming to bring you a video on the two fuel sources that are used when you're in a sports performance sport. Why you should do it, should you do the other, one more than the other, we'll find out shortly. Before I get into this video, make sure you like, comment, share, subscribe, turn on your notification bells, and I'll do the best I can as far as providing high quality content to you. So, you have two different fuel sources when it comes to your sports performance. You have your anaerobic, which is your muscles using stored glycogen and glucose. Glycogen is turned into glucose. The glucose is used for your energy source. Your body uses that. When it comes to the aerobic, your body is using oxygenated blood that your heart is actually pumping and cycling through its ventricles to make sure that you have a constant source of energy. So let's take a look at both of them. Anaerobic. Anaerobic, remember, we're talking about the energy already stored in your muscles. So these are good for short explosive bursts, max intensity bursts. So people refer to that as your VO2 max. So these type of conditioning exercises are very important for individuals who are boxing, who are in combat sports, MMA, kickboxing, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, wrestling, football, track. Well, I should say sprints in the track, because there are different aspects. So you want to make sure that you're increasing your anaerobic threshold. And you can do that by doing things like on the assault bike, the assault sprints, battle ropes. You can go outside and actually sprint on the track or sprint on the field. That's actually a little bit more harder, in my opinion, because you're pulling your body weight, versus on the assault treadmill, you're keeping up with a bike, or not a bike, a belt. So you're keeping up with the belt. When you go outside and you actually have to pull your full body weight, it's a bit different. So you want to make sure that you're doing your anaerobic threshold and increasing your anaerobic threshold. That's what the conditioning is about. So right now, your muscles have a certain threshold of how much glucose that it can actually store, which is why people gas out, because they don't condition their anaerobic threshold. When you increase your anaerobic threshold, that means that your body can now store more glucose, which can actually help, with your blood pressure too, as far as people who have, a glucose sensitivity or glucose issues. So if your body's able to store more glucose, that means you're increasing your anaerobic threshold, which means you will be able to perform longer and perform faster and more explosive than somebody who gasses out fast. So the performance during the round of boxing, you need to increase your glucose stores to perform explosive longer. That's pretty much what I just explained to you. That's why the anaerobic threshold, the anaerobic training, is highly, highly, highly important to you combat fighters. Now, the aerobic, we're not going to neglect the aerobic. Like I said, the aerobic aspect of it, you'll see more marathoners or people who have distance sports, not necessarily explosive sports, but distance bouts, to actually use the oxygenated blood circulated by your heart to keep refueling the muscles. So for long distance, miles, long bike rides, you can use the Stairmaster, you can use the elliptical. So I'm talking about running miles on a treadmill. That's going to increase your aerobic threshold. Long bike rides, it could be outside or whatever the case may be, or even, inside at the gym. The Stairmaster and the elliptical, all of these are sources that is increasing your heart rate and teaching your heart to have a stronger stroke rhythm. So this is good, in my opinion, for fighters and combat training too, and every athlete that I just named, from football players to boxers to MMA to kickboxers. You still, in my opinion, need to increase your aerobic threshold too, because that's going to help you with your recovery between your rounds. Your stroke rhythm is going to be able to pick up because you generally have a minute in between. So that minute in between rounds where you're recovering, it's not going to be anaerobic. Your anaerobic is your performance. That's your ability to be able to explode and perform within the round. So the 2, 3, 4, 5 minute round, however long it is, that up and down factor of, okay, explode, move, 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 and then back down, and explode, move, 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 and back down. That happens during the round. The aerobic happens in between the rounds. So people who neglect the aerobic threshold are actually missing a good bit of training, because over here, that's where the blood actually starts to flow through the muscles again and help kind of that lactic acid ease. So both of these are highly important. You need both your anaerobic and your aerobic. Your anaerobic more because obviously you do more with the anaerobic. That's your longest period of time. However, the aerobic needs to be trained as well because that's going to help with the speed of recovery in between rounds. I hope that makes sense. So make sure you do both. My personal opinion though, when it comes to training the anaerobic and the aerobic, which one can you train more? The aerobic. The anaerobic is going to make your muscles sore. You're going to need more recovery, and it also puts tax on your central nervous system. So the anaerobic training should happen twice a week, in my opinion. Twice a week. The aerobic, maybe 3 times a week. But you do need both. I've heard people say they only do anaerobic and don't do any aerobic in between. I mean, if that works for you, fine, but I don't suggest it. Hopefully, what I've just broken down for you fighters especially, I hope that makes a lot of sense. Why you do still need your anaerobic threshold. Both of them are highly needed. So, like I said, maybe break the schedule down like Tuesday and Thursday, you do your anaerobic training. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you do your distance running. But both are highly needed. Also, in the aerobic threshold, this is gonna ruffle a lot of feathers because we're out here in a world right now where people are saying or pushing the narrative that only walking on the treadmill is gonna burn fat. Me personally, I use my aerobic also for weight management. So yes, I'm gonna lose my fat from over here. I'm gonna run. I'm not a bodybuilder, and I'm not one of those guys who promotes bodybuilding lifestyles. So the aerobic is where I'm also gonna use weight management techniques. So not only is my aerobic strengthening my heart, but it's going to be there for my weight management. My anaerobic is for performance. So hopefully this video makes sense to you guys. Hopefully it breaks down a little bit about the thresholds between both and why they're both important. And I hope that you all actually use these tools and apply them to your own training. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Leave me some feedback in the bottom of the video, and I'll catch you in the next one.